Wow. We are back with David L. Cook, and he was just telling me in the break that you guys actually performed here in this theater.
I kept telling my cousins here in the audience tonight, and I kept telling her this place looks familiar, it looks familiar, and then I remember we performed here before, yeah.
How old would you say you probably were when that happened?
I don't know, probably 12, 13, maybe something like that.
Now, you said you started when you were probably about five. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you've had a rather incredible solo career with a bunch of Emmy wins. Mm-hmm. And that was for primarily composing, correct?
Some of it was for composing. Some of it, I did theme songs from different television shows. I did, some of it was for scoring soundtrack, for different television shows. And then I won several awards under pseudonyms and things like that, because you being an attorney, you should know. Back in the early 80s, late 70s, kids could perform under their real names. They had to use pseudonyms because of the child labor laws back then. Michael Jackson was the one who changed that. People didn't realize that because he was never allowed to sing as Michael Jackson. It was the Jackson 5. Then as he got older, it became Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, and then finally it was Michael Jackson.
Well, he started when he was around 5 as well.
He did, yeah.
So some of the songs that people would that were most recognizable that people would know, what were those?
I Go Crazy, Cool Night, Sweet Life, True, Drop That Rock.
Now, True, is that Spandau Ballet True? Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I'm not generally fazed by stuff, but I love that thing. I love that. And then, now you've been inducted into multiple halls of fame, mm-hmm. And I guess, what does that mean to you?
Well, for a while it played with my head because when you think about halls of fame, you think about people such as Chubby Checker and Gloria Gaynor and all these people who have had these monumental long careers. And Gloria Gaynor, who's just one of my sweethearts, she I Will Survive. I Will Survive, yeah. I had a problem one time with them using the word legend when it came to attaching it to my name, because I was like, I'm not that old. I don't think I should be listed as a legend. And she said, baby, she said, you've been on stage longer than some of these other people will ever be on stage. And, now I've been on stage for 45 years.
Now, you were talking a little bit about Barbara Mandrell, Chubby Checker, Johnny Cash, and then you said you don't like the idea that you weren't happy with the legend label. But, I mean, to some extent, you're I don't know how to put this, but there's a definite, long-term history there that goes, like you said, spans 45 years. I mean, do you consider yourself some sort of musical historian in some sort of way?
It's funny that you would use that kind of word, because I do believe that through the talent that God has given me, I do believe that I've left a mark. I don't know how deep it is into the wood, but I do know that I've left a mark. And I think that the more life that I live, I think that that mark will get deeper. But I can't deny that I've been out there, and I can't deny the things that I've been able to accomplish.
Well, I still have True running through my head now since we talked about it. So,
yeah.
Now let's talk a little bit about faith.
Okay.
What role has faith played in your life?
Everything, everything. Again, my grandmother, my dad's mom, she was an ordained minister with the Assemblies of God. My mom's mother and father were ministers. I've grown up, I was a PK, so I grew up just being a little heathen, you know, because PKs are they're always the worst kids. But though my mom and my grandparents weren't pastors of churches, they were still in front of people spreading the gospel. You know, I mean, we traveled with Jimmy Swaggart and Billy Graham and all of these people. So it was, we were always immersed in our faith and with people of faith. So it was just who I was, and it still is.
I know we got to talk about Mortimer at some point.
Oh, okay.
No, what can you tell us a little bit about that?
About Mortimer?
Yeah.
Mortimer is he's a alter ego character that I'd perform on stage, and when I first started doing him, a lot of my contemporaries were like, "What are you doing? You know, you're a multi-award-winning recording artist, and you're dressing like a nerd and walking out. What are you doing?" And I said, "This is what God gave me." There was a message. There was a deep-seated message into what Mortimer is all about. Because when Mortimer walks out, you see this nerd walk out. You know, pants are up to here, big glasses, hat, and then, you know, all the time through the program, he's got people in stitches. But then he stops, and he says, "I want you to stop and look at what you're doing." He says, "You see, when I came in here, you laughed at me because you thought I looked funny, and you thought I talked funny, and maybe I do. But by now you should know I love God with all my heart." And he said, "But isn't that like Christians to judge things by what we think we see instead of judging by what God really puts in front of us?" And so at that point, everything that Mortimer's wearing, the hat, the glasses, the tie, everything starts coming off, and it all has a purpose to Mortimer. You know, so in the end, Mortimer's just standing there, and he's David. You know, because inside that armor, the warrior's a child. So, you see people go from, "Hey," to, oh, you know, I think I've been had here, you know. So, but I think that's something that our Christian audience needs to hear a little bit more of.
Now, you're also involved in a lot of musical organizations, AMG, so on and so forth. What made you decide to get involved in those?
Because I believe that to whom much is given, much is required. And again, God's been very good to me, so it's my turn to give back. And when you're looking at kids who are in public schools that are in Title I schools that are below poverty, and you have a program and these kids come in and you've got one carrying their books in a plastic grocery bag, and it busts all over the floor, you can't stand back and not do something about that. So with every one of these kids, we make sure that they have book bags and school supplies, and we feed them. And if the school needs instruments, we try to help get them and things like that, because the arts are leaving the schools so rapidly that we can't keep up.
We are going to come back after the break with some of your music, some videos.
Okay, sure.
And we'll be right back with some music from David L. Cook.